Playing on Hermitcraft today. It's going to be a fun one. Because we got a plan. We know what we're doing. And I've been doing things. Look, musical stuff everywhere. Oh, so cool. So very, very cool. We're going to be putting the facade in front of this today. I've got a schematic for it, which I should probably get in place straight away. Although I kind of want to avoid building from a schematic. Rage Dragon says art gallery fun. That's the one. That's what we're having today. So I haven't used schematics a lot this season. Let's go ahead and remove that and turn that one off. And like I used a schematic for this, and then I ignored it and just copied it from another world, which I think is probably what I'll do with this. But the whole materials list thing is kind of helpful. I definitely made a schematic of it on the other world. Maybe I called it album art. Let's load that schematic. Welcome to all the peeps tuning in. Hope you're doing well. Awesome timing for dinner. Nothing quite like watching and eating, right? Wait, that's rendered it all. Where is this thing? Like, why can't I see it? Oh, should be right where I am. Okay, yeah, you have to. Sometimes you have to like disable it, enable it, disable it, enable it, and then it turns up. That's looking far more like it, isn't it? So I think it's got to go, no, up, down. Oh, now it goes down, okay. Oh, there's some lagginess with this today. Interesting. It looks like it's right, but it's probably not, is my... Oh, no. No. I think we got it spot on. Yeah, there we go. All right. Oh, it's going to look great, isn't it? And, whew, little bit close here. I didn't check that. I didn't double check that at all. Right, that's what we're building today, people. Let's get rid of that, but use this thing to give us some material. Ah, dang it. I've had this issue before. See, the whole mod seems to be a bit finicky today. Let's log back in and see if we can get it to work. Iguran, thank you ever so much for 15 months. Greetings from LPMT. Oh, I hope you're having a good time playing on there. Welcome to all the peeps tuning in. Mossy Moth has a croissant. What was it I heard of today? A cookie. Well, they call it a crookie. No, am I getting it right? Croissant cookie. Yeah, no. So apparently, there's a new like like food trend sweet thing. Cookies and croissants mixed together. Kublix says a rat gallery. Rat gallery. I mean, you can rearrange the letters of art if you want to. Expelled Winter, thank you for 18 months. Hooray, hooray indeed. Thank you for resubscribing, I appreciate it. Xisuma, what's your thoughts when you saw Grian said that him and Mumbo made a track? Because I imagine you'd worried about Grian and the buttons. The Lit Gun says, if you watch my latest episode of Hermitcraft, you'd get more than just my thoughts. You can see my reaction and everything. Kuphoria, thank you ever so much for the Prime. You haven't seen a stream in ages. Feels good to be back. Welcome back. Good to have you. Callie says, so like a chocolate croissant, or what do you mean? I don't know, actually. I just heard it's a new thing, like to mix a cookie and a croissant. And they call it a crookie. Like a new treat, a new little trend. I think it might be a specific... No, I think it's just a cookie and a croissant. Yeah, just that. Not like a particular flavor or anything. Because I was thinking, what's that cookie flavor? Cookies and cream. But I'm like, no, it's not that. Pink Into, thank you ever so much for 20 months. Thanks for tuning in. There's a stream streak, by the way. I need to clarify. Hey, I'm happy to have an X stream to keep me entertained. A minor injury unit isn't a fun place to be sat. They are trying to decide whether they need to send me to A&E or not. TVT. What is TVT? Glad to have something to watch. Sorry to hear you're in the hospital, my dude, but I hope it goes well, and you know, you're in the best place you can be to get some help. You know me, I'm always looking for a bright side to everything. Elias Spezzy, thank you so much for 9 months. Whoa, it's a baby, it is. Someone, oh, I didn't do the thing. Right, let's test. We've got to play an animation, let's test. So I go in here, I click on one, I click on that, I click on that, and then it seems to link up, and then I close it, and press the button, and it works! Like magic, if only it just works without all the extra clicking. TVT is a crying emotion. Oh! I see. Got ya. TVT is a sad face. I see it now, yeah. Your latest episode had me in stitches. It was so good, says Shani Makes. Oh, glad to hear it. I'm currently recording the next episode. The next episode's really different. Like, I got this comment that made me think I should take a different approach, and so I've just kind of let loose a little bit on doing a different approach for the next episode. So the next one I think you'll find is probably going to end up being like a fair bit longer, and just have a bit of a different feel to it. All a good thing. But yeah, no, I just got this one comment that made me like sort of rethink how I've been recording my episodes recently, and so I decided I'm just gonna do this one a bit different, and really enjoyed it so far. Katie Org, 5 stream streak. Can't stay too long as I'm heading into work, but happy to have at least I'm catching some of it. Oh, glad to have you here for a little bit. I hope you have a nice day at work. As we tuck away the last few blocks here, I think that's kind of it. The rest of this stuff is just stuff we're picking up. Right, so we've tidied the inventory. Why did I think that? Because before we can start doing any of this, we need to sort that one out, right? Mistakes will be made. First time catching a stream. Welcome, welcome. TVT is like smiling and crying. Well, there comes the ambiguity. That's the word. Ambiguity of like language, emoticons, interpretation, all that kind of stuff. You had a restart on your streak. Don't worry about it, Sondra. Thanks for tuning in. Robustry. You're loving the vids from China. Awesome. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great, my dude. I was looking at a holiday in China. Potentially go there one day. I was looking at some of the trips they do, and I found one that was really cool that goes up to the Great Wall and then comes down to the terracotta armor, and just traveling and stuff like that gets me excited. Yeah, we relogged because of this whole materials list thing, right? And it's not doing it again. It's just not, and I don't know why. Which will slow us down immensely, but we can do this. Not so much winging it, but like, I know some of the material. Like, I know we're gonna need some of this. Probably not a crazy amount. We'll need some deep slate. We're gonna need lots of glass, I think. Cyan terracotta? Do we need like glazed cyan terracotta? That's the light blue stuff. So I'm gonna need some dye. I'm gonna need some terracotta. We need green dye as well. Terracotta, warped planks. I think my warped wood situation is pretty dire. Can anyone out there tell me? This is very important. I need your help. Does Corrales have the Nether tree farms hooked up? Because if not, you know, I may end up wasting 2 minutes of my time going over to his base to steal from him, and that would be an absolute travesty, wasting that amount of time, wouldn't it? He does! I had a feeling. I had a feeling when I was over there. Didn't I see those? I seem to have made a mental note. There we go, some of that. Goes into the build. I'm sort of like picturing it in my head and just trying to remember all the details. We won't get them all, but we'll do our best. That's probably enough terracotta between the two of them. All right, so we're gonna take a trip to Corralis's and we're gonna go get some cactus. I still haven't built a cactus farm. Every time I look at it on my list, I just feel this sense of like, if there's one farm that you build every world, every season, and it never really changes, it's the cactus farm, right? Like maybe that should be the goal, to innovate and find a new way to do the cactus farm. But we need some of that for dye. And oh my god, I just can't be bothered to build it. I'd rather just steal cactus. Maybe Corralis has got some cactus we can steal. God, I'm such a thief this season. Just constantly stealing from Corralis. Where would I put this stuff? Where does it end up? Aha, there's a bit. 21. Not a crazy amount. Great role model. X stealing, says Cuplex. It's just my thing this season. I'm gonna be that guy. I'm just gonna be the one who presses the button, you know? I'm gonna be a bit cheeky. You've only been back once since the art museum thing. It took a minute, but I think I'm over it. What are you over? Been back once since the art museum. Art museum? That... Wait. Last season of Hermitcraft, we did the... I love that helmet. And the... Is this the... No, this is the... the sounds I'm hearing is the music of my own picking. It's not something coming out of the game today. Oh my god. Yeah, last season we did an art gallery, and I get confused because some people call it a museum, and it's not a museum, it's a gallery. And if things could just get a little bit more confusing this season, we're sort of building an art gallery that isn't an art gallery, like it's an album cover gallery, and it's just convenient to use a short word, art, to sort of throw it out there. This is, you know, what you can expect, right? The new cactus farm with a flower on, maybe. Yeah, I mean, whenever I get an itch to do a little redstone thing, I might come back to the cactus farm and give it another shot. Yes, look at this. Look at this. So, we probably don't need more than 2 stacks, but I'll take 4 because I'm a notorious... what's the word? Oh my god. I was going to say, like, underpicker, and then I'm like, no, there's a word for this. Frugal. Yeah, I'm notoriously frugal. I'm so frugal with resources that I continuously head back and forth between my storage. You know, I'm building a mega structure, and I'm like, I'll only need 1 stack, and it's like, oh, I actually needed 10. You always build a cactus farm, and 99% of the time never use it. Yeah. Molly says he doesn't care, you know. Me? You are talking in my chat. Who's online right now? Just me at the moment. Oh, I love this song. This is a banger. You like the time that I stream because you get to fall asleep to it. Anyway, thanks for being comforting, says Gem Atomic. Thanks for tuning in. You gotta love the hermits when they just have lag. They have items to lag into their inventories. Don't know what that means. Well, he says I screwed up my submission. For the art gallery. Is that what you're getting at? It's not that I don't care. Like if you make a mistake or something, I don't know. I don't know what to say really. Like, mistakes happen. Autumn says the bird is the word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird is the word. X museum is mostly used about art being displayed in my country. An art gallery would be a place to sell art. Okay, yeah, interesting distinction. The logs just lagged into my inventory. Did they? Okay. The Mossy Mouse says, every time I sit down to watch a stream of yours, my friends somehow know and call me to play a game. Go be social, dude. Go play with your friends, man. It's good for you. Excuse me. Oh, gosh, mouth burps. The worst. Well, they're the worst when I can't, you know, emergency mute. I didn't even think of that. That one just sprung up on me. That means... Oh, that means I've drunk some tea and I've still got some left. Thank goodness I noticed. It's a thing Grian and Mumbo said in Season 8. Oh, lag. Right, got ya. Yeah. Lag in the inventory. You think Molly meant that Kralis didn't care about you borrowing his cactus? Not sure. Yeah, okay, this is, I just, I'm not great with language, right? More context, the better. I've said that so many times. What an intense choice of music for building an art gallery today. I just pull up my list of, like, what do I want to listen on a stream, and this immediately just went, I feel like that today. So I just went with it. By the way, let's talk about art galleries and museums for a second. Mainly museums. I watched a comedy recently, and I think I've heard this line done by other comedians before. I think it was Trevor Noah, because he just put out a new comedy special, and I had one more of his old ones to watch. So I was watching that, and there's this whole joke about like the museum and, you know, how it's... Museums are basically, in a way, at least here in Britain, let's say, is like showing off that you went around the world and plundered a bunch of stuff from other places, right? And there's so much truth to that, and I think it can also be a little bit divisive. Like, I'm not a very nationalistic person. I don't attach my identity to the country I'm from. I'm undoubtedly going to inherit some traits of what it's like to be here and live here, but I'm not attached to our history in a way where it's like some part of my identity, and I'm fully prepared to go, yeah, we went around the world and we plundered all this stuff and now we put it in a museum. Like, that was a different period in time. And I don't think it has to, like, reflect poorly upon the people of today, because we didn't make those decisions, right? But this is what museums are in a way, right? I go to London. I love going to the museums. It's fantastic. But you know, that's easy for me to get there. For other people, you got to fly across the world to get to the London museums and see lots of stuff from Egypt in there, right? You know. Franny says, ah yes, the British Museum, home of stolen things being displayed legally. Essentially, on some level, it is that, isn't it? I do think it's really important to get away from, like, sensationalizing language a little bit, and try and ground things a little bit more in, like, context and education. Give people the story of the past and the ideas around it. When we try and condense stuff into, like, a short statement, I think it can be quite dangerous. But, like, giving someone, like, the fuller context and the education on, like, you know, the history of all that stuff, I think that's more important. That's more empowering. Like, you got to use your critical thinking skills to navigate this stuff, right? Because there's arguments for and against, but ultimately, I feel like I love the British Museum and all the other museums that I've been to, and I'd love for them to stay there and be easily accessible. But the truth of the matter is, you know, that's stuff that's been plundered from other countries at the end of the day. I don't think there's much of a moral argument to say that we should keep it either, to be frank. And that's from someone who really loves museums. Someone in the chat commented on Gem's build, so I've got to fly over here. I saw the thumbnail of a stream yesterday, I think, and I saw this bit popping up, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to get to that at some point." So now we've gotten to this. Gem's such a fantastic builder, and I get the impression that not a lot of this is like pre-built, like I would do in creative mode. And I'm always just I love seeing how other people play this game, and I'm getting a sense that Gem has like a lot of like building techniques and ideas and knows how to execute them. You know, assuming this is all like done in survival first. That's the feeling I'm getting. The way it comes together, it just feels like she knows all the concepts and how to fit things together. Because when you get up close, you can see that there isn't a crazy amount of detail and stuff like that. But then when you get at the right distance from it, the overall build just has the right shape and proportion to everything around it. It's like really impressive. And I don't feel like I have that. I feel like everything I do building is like a challenge to myself to make this thing look better than the last thing that I did. But I'm still very much winging it all. And I don't feel like those attempts translate into a sort of survival. What is going on with this lag? We got a leak. Where's memory displayed now? I forget. Oh, yeah, we got a leak. Well, that went close to 90%. It's using like over 4 gigs. Something's wrong with this. I'm gonna restart because we've seen a bunch of glitchiness and stuff. But let's get this going. But yeah, for me, I think what I'm learning at the moment with my building is scale and detail on a particular scale. The scale of our street. When we started building the building we're doing today, we originally... Alright, we're back up and running again. Here's a fun fact for you. If I change out one of my sources, i.e. we switch from one instance of Minecraft to another, i.e. me restarting the Minecraft client, that will cause OBS to crash because of the plugin that I use to record the streams. You know what, I'm gonna have a day today where after this I've got like a list of jobs to do. Like there's something that broke on my dishwasher, so I've got to go through my warranty to get that fixed. I've got to research cleaning my shower because some mold is starting to accumulate down the bottom, and like once it gets going, that dark mold, I don't know how you stop that. Like I need to research that. I got to write a music blog. I got to prep for some cooking that I'm going to do tomorrow. It's just a day with a list of little jobs, and I'm going to make sure that I do some sort of investigation into that today. Like maybe I have to contact the person that develops that plugin and let them know I'm having some issues, and if they're receptive, maybe they're able to fix it or something. Mold is a pain, says Molly. It is, right? And it's like, how do you get rid of it? Because bleach. Use bleach to kill the mold. Interesting. I'm going to do a little bit of research, because last time I got some, like, you know, homemade organic remedy thing about using vinegar and stuff, and I was just like, this is a lot of faff. And also, you get a lot of cleaning products that are like, eliminates mold, and I've tried a couple of those, and it didn't work, and it's like, ugh. But yeah. We got all the adults in chat now talking about killing bleach. Sorry, killing mold. Just nuke it with bleach. Gel is better because it lingers. Bleach in a dishwasher doesn't sound safe because it might get eaten by you. We're talking about the shower now, right? Like the tiles on the wall in your shower. And then sometimes you get a bit of mold in between the gaps and stuff. You know, like, we got all this high-tech technology coming along. You've got like AI doing all this crazy technology stuff. Why haven't we got crazy advancements in the world of bathroom mold? Like, why don't we have materials that don't accumulate mold yet? We need some more materials science, people. I don't want to clean. I want it to self-clean. Liar Lure, thank you ever so much for 7 months. We got Luke Light TV coming in with the Prime. Thank you for using that on me. Ginger the Lily is here with a stream streak. And we got Mickle Pistone here subscribing. Thank you so much, my dude. The Odd British one coming in with the Prime as well for 9 months. Now, what happens if I press the button this time? It worked. Interesting, because we had to restart OBS. So I didn't expect that to work. I didn't expect that to work. Okay. Mixing baking soda and vinegar neutralizes both ingredients, so just use one or the other. Huh. You bleach the heck out of it. It helps if you have a good airflow in your bathroom to keep it dry. Interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll try bleach. I'm going to do a little bit of research first. And, you know, see what's what. Right. We're trying to build. Okay, we've got no... There we go. Got to do it twice to get that up. And then we're going to switch to that view. And I'm going to bring it all the way down. I wanted to do this with another client on the other screen, actually. I've started to really prefer that. Now, if I launch another client, it'll be okay. I can't switch. I can't change my sources while I'm streaming. I can change my scenes, interestingly enough. I'm not going to do any experimentation, by the way. I'm just talking out loud. I've got these problems, and there might be a way to fix some of them or not. Are those anvils there? No, we ended up putting mangrove leaves in? Well, I've got 4. And I think we put some over here somewhere, so... There you go. I can wing it a bit. Like, we don't have to stick to any rules or anything. Like, if I just decide, actually, over here, we're going to put those there, then that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. So, building resources. There's stuff like trapdoors and other things we're going to use lying around here. Maybe some more spruce wood related stuff. Or not. Oh my god. I should have stolen more wood from Corrales while I was over there. Domineus, thank you so much for 15 streams in a row. We've got Innocent Otti coming in with a Prime. Thank you. We've got quite a few Primes coming in today. Peeps, if you did not know, if you just happened to be here, you're like, hey, I'm going to use my Prime on X today. That gets you access to our Let's Play Minecraft Together server, which we're currently not touring. Because not only do I not have a client set up for it, it would also crash my stream. There's another caveat at the moment. If I switch to another client, I'm actually going to crash my stream. So the LPMT tours are on hold for now. But we have a wonderful community of Minecrafters, and you get access just by being subscribed here. This block's got to go. We need that cohesion, I just realized. That cohesion. So I need a texture that matches the floor around us. Stone might do. Cobblestone would be nice. This part of the game right now, fishing through inventories for an item, this is a part of the game I think is old and redundant and needs to go. I think we need some sort of ethereal inventory system where you can just magically go, I want this item now, and like pull it and bam, you're building with it. That's what I want to see. That's what I would like to see. Corrales' base is so cool. It is, yeah. If the mold is a recurring problem, you could look at getting a dehumidifier. The mold is just... It's that tile mold. I've seen it in so many like showers and bathrooms. And it's like once it starts getting in there, it's hard to clean it off. And it was like a year ago it started to accumulate, and I tried a bunch of things to get rid of it and it wouldn't. And it's just sort of sitting there looking at me, and I felt quite motivated to do some cleaning recently, so it's like on my mind to take a look at the bathroom and get on top of that. Do I still play guitar? I do, yes. Every day, pretty much. Except yesterday I didn't play. Probably the first time in a long time I didn't play. I just spent most of my time on Hermitcraft yesterday. Right, I'm getting my redstone world set up on my other screen so that I can go in and build this with something on the other screen rather than using Light Matica. I actually prefer that. It used to be that... you know, Light Matica is kind of easier and quicker, and it is, but it's also, it's not as immersive. I feel like when you see the build on another screen and then you bring it to the one in front of you, it's much nicer than having all of those schematic overlays and stuff. I just prefer it, I've found. So we had a couple of grindstones out front, and then we got a bunch of copper blocks. And copper, I think that might be one of the last things I do, because when we do this copper stuff, we're going to end up needing an axe and honeycomb and, like, shuffling lots of blocks around. Okay, I need dark oak shelves over here. But I need more than that. And now I need an axe. Okay. Do you use a window squeaky after bath? I don't know what that is. I also don't have a bath, I have a shower. Creative mode but in survival. Nah, well yeah, mate, yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, you see the list of blocks in creative and then you pull it. Kinda like that, yeah. Kinda like that. Oh, did I craft more shelves? There we go. We're having like 3 conversations at once again. Gotta stop doing that. There's the other blocks we need. Plus, copper has a billion variants, so inventory would be a mess. Yeah, and my other idea is that we like condense all these different options down to like a single resource. I think that would be fantastic, but I don't think it's anything we're going to see anytime soon. Just don't think Mojang are really cottoning on. It's probably going to take like Hytale developing some steam and then starting to take players away from Minecraft. But Hytale at the moment, like their inventory is kind of the same as Minecraft's, and it's going to have that problem with building where you just got like loads of different block variants, and it's, you know, you're just cycling through them. It's a bit of a hassle, so we've got to wait for Hytale to answer that problem. This one was actually not. This was going to be paintings. I just remembered. Some sort of painting thing going on here. We'll go ahead and put in some stone. Right, I had a noise in the air. What was it? A tangible llama. Thank you so much for 2 months. Appreciate you, my dude. Thank you for supporting the channel. Should we do the floor here next? That might be a bit of a challenge because I never really figured out what I wanted. I decided to do something dark, so I need to go pick up some materials. Here's another thing about building, right? Like, unless you want to be very deliberately focused and strategic, I don't know about all of y'all, but I jump around a little bit when I build. Especially if you're creative. I feel like when you're in that flow of figuring things out, you need to sort of jump onto what your mind's latching onto. And so you might get a little bit like stuck with a window design, but then all of a sudden the door starts to make sense. So you hop over to the door and like you're constantly jumping around with different materials and different ideas. And that leads to just inventory clutter. All right, I'm noticing something here. I don't really have any supplies of concrete, so that means that I need sand and gravel. Based on how much concrete we're going to use in this build, quite a bit when we get to cyan. So let's go ahead and grab 2 stacks of each. and then we'll make some concrete, I guess, somewhere, somehow. Have I played Lair of the Land? I have not. I don't really play other games at the moment. In fact, I think I've squarely, like, refocused my attention to what I need to give my attention to. You make it with the dye. That's the trick. So for a long time now, I just haven't had a desire to play games, and just recently I've found like an app. It's actually a free website. It's actually, if you search music theory, it's like this default free website that's at the top of the search engine results, and it's got an app, and then it's got a trainer app. And with music theory, I think I was struggling to realize a couple of things. One is that music theory, I think, gets perceived as being a bunch of rules or a way you have to do music. And actually, music theory is more like a language, a communication. So if you learn music theory and you start learning about scales, modes, intervals, chords, triads, what are all these arcane words? Well, they're actually just like a language for expressing what happens within the musical context. And I've just started there, and I think before I've been expecting to like get some sort of insight or something out of it that directly translates to writing music immediately, and that's not what I'm doing right now. I'm just learning the language, and that's made it quite clear to me that I just need to learn these different parts of the language, what they mean, how to interpret them on my keyboards, on the staff, and eventually on my guitar. I'm going to try and focus on that as well. And now I'm in a place where I'm solidly learning. I'm like reading, I'm studying, I'm practicing, and I'm building a skill set. I wasn't supposed to do all of that. That's what I get for talking and not paying attention. So, well, actually, yeah, no, okay, I wanted some grey concrete, so let's go get some more sand and gravel. How do I start a composition? Is it with feeling or restriction or inspiration or another song? I've experimented with lots of different starting places, like using, sometimes more recently, using a little bit of theory, like looking at some of those patterns that appear in music and wondering how they can be disrupted or subverted. But the most successful thing is when I'm just jamming, and then for some reason or another, a particular sound catches your attention, and like you can feel more beyond it. It's like, oh, there's more to this idea right here. And then that's when it gets going for me, and you build on top of that. But I haven't been composing as much as I thought I would. I thought I was going to start spending my time composing, and I think I've found it a little bit of a struggle to do for whatever reason, and that's led me to pivot to focusing on getting the music theory stuff down now, because I really want to get to the ins and outs of that and let it inform how I understand music better. But it's been really nice because I feel like I'm doing proper learning at the moment. Like I'm really like challenging myself, you know? I've got to use my brain here. Like really engage and memorize, and that's been really nice. You've been playing Shapes too? Yeah, I played that back when the early access stuff first kicked off. I really enjoyed that one. But I just have no desire to play games at the moment. I feel really quite focused on, you know, learning music theory or doing something like valuable with my time. You've been avoiding music theory like the plague. What's your reason for avoiding it? Because I avoided it for a long time too. I would say regrettably, really. Like I really should have learned it. The big distinction is that music theory is a language of communication, not so much a rule set. From learning it, you'll see a bunch of like patterns and rules emerge, but you'll develop, I think, the language to communicate. And one of the things that has helped this click for me is that I've been watching some music theory videos, and a lot of them are like, whoever's teaching you, it's like their interpretation of the theory and how they've used it to help them create music. And that's like kind of unique and different for each person. And once you watch some of those videos and you latch onto an idea and you discover something that's like applicable for you, that's when it changed to me, and I realized I need to better understand this like language of communication, because then I can learn more from people that are creating theory-based content to like help you become a better musician. Intellectualizing music composition with music theory makes me always second guess what I'm doing, says Tresty. I've had a different sense of it. I've had a feeling more like, oh, this has enabled me to get to what I'm trying to do quicker. And it's not because there's rules, but there's like conventions in music. Everything in music is a remix, right? Like, nothing's truly unique. We always build off of what come before it. And so, whatever you're trying to do with your own music, what you're trying to express, what you're trying to create, it's informed by all the music that you've heard before in your life. And chances are 99% of that relates to music theory in one way or another. But again, as a language, not as a set of rules. So the thing you're trying to express, there's already a convention for it. And when you understand that convention, you find like the notes and the places you're trying to go with your music quicker. Does that make sense? So for me, it's had the opposite effect. I mean, maybe early on when I didn't really understand that it was a language and I started looking at scales and stuff, it was like a bit of an impediment. But that's because I just didn't know what I was doing. I was just like grabbing random bits of information and trying to apply it to what was in front of me. Yo, Pancake, thank you so much for 13 months. We got Lilo Creates Arts here for 5 months as well. And Mystoria, thank you for a 10 stream streak. Is HC more like a job or a hobby to me? I think at this point in time, it's definitely a hobby. Like I do YouTube and streaming. That's my job, right? But my mentality is that it's something that I do for fun. And I've done this for so long now that I've entered this state where I feel like I just don't have anything to prove. Like, there was a period of time where I would make lots of contraptions and videos. Like, my channel, maybe about 5 years ago, you know, there'd be myth busting, there'd be tutorials, contraptions, there'd be all sorts of content going on all the time. And I can't be bothered to, like, take what I do and constantly turn it into YouTube content anymore. And so I think that's, like, a bit of a retired from it mindset. I still, obviously, make videos on Hermitcraft. And I say the one thing that's like a job is doing these snapshots. I happen to love covering Minecraft updates and making those videos. But that's what I consider the bread and butter of the channel and what keeps it going. So, like, that's kind of my job. Like, one day a week, turn up and make sure you do this and do it right. Just happen to enjoy it. Then all the other Minecrafty stuff like this that I do, streaming and making Hermitcraft videos, that's just me having fun. If I were more, if I had more of that like growth mindset around YouTube and I really wanted to grow the channel and stuff, I would be hustling out some videos. But I don't feel like that anymore at all, really. Just done this for too long to care. The numbers stop meaning so much. Ren's Cold Sun, thank you so much for 44 months. Good day, X. Have a nice stream as always. Thank you, my dude. Thanks for tuning in. You think you avoid it as you find the idea of it daunting, says Lur. It was daunting to me when I didn't understand what it was. I would recommend. I mean, I can recommend how I got into music theory, but I think it's a bit of an abstract path. I think the key thing was the click when I realized that learning music theory is learning the language. So if you start with that music theory website, anyone can go find it. I think it's called Music Theory Lessons or whatever. It's just a very simple layout website that's free to use. There's an app with on the iPad as well, and like if you start looking at it and it's explaining intervals and chord shapes and triads, and you're like, what is all this and why do I need to know it? Think less about how it relates to you writing music and think more about this is a language. So I need to understand intervals. So when someone else is talking about intervals, I know what notes they're talking about. You know, all this stuff like the tonic, the subdominant, and it gets archaic and it feels like there's some sort of like hidden magic in the words that's like dictating what the music can and can't do. But it's not. It's just like the language. And so when someone talks to you about like a chord progression and now they're using a leading note or whatever, it's like that's the language for understanding what they're doing with their instrument. And I guess if you're working between musicians, it'll probably aid a lot in playing better together. But as a lone musician, which is what I am, I'm noticing when I watch these educational videos on music theory, I'm just starting to see the ideas more and learning things, and then like my playing gets better and my understanding of what I'm doing gets better. Like learning this is gonna sound so weird, but like I composed music on synths, right, in my songs. If you go listen to the album and pay attention to the synths in the songs, because pretty much all of the songs bar 2 have synths in them, I did all of that from the guitar without knowing what the heck I was playing on the guitar. I didn't even know what notes they were really, right? Like once I tablated them, it was like, okay, that's an F sharp and this is a C. But like that didn't mean anything to me. And what's really weird is that now that I've learned to play chords on the pianos and I know what notes they're made of, I'm looking at what I used to write and I'm like, I remember trying to figure out these sounds and where I was trying to go with them. And now I know it's like, there's obviously minor and major chords, that's very well known, but now I'm like, oh, that's a dominant 7th. And I understand why I wanted that, because it's got this like unsettled feeling that then resolves into a different chord. And yeah, it's like it's all there. It's all there in the music theory, and I was trying to figure it out, thinking that music theory had nothing to do with it. But actually, like, the music theory would have given me a framework for what I wanted to create, and I could have just traversed my way there a little bit quicker, is essentially it. And now when I'm writing chords, when I've been doing it recently, oh my god, I can find a flow of synths the way I like them really quickly. And it's because I've learned the theory stuff and I understand the structure of chords and why they sound the way they do and how they relate to each other, right? If that sounds like I'm getting into rules all of a sudden, oh, this chord sounds like that and that, you can defy those rules if you want to, but you'll probably find like there's a lot of weight, there's a lot of truth in the way this information, in the way that you experience it. There's no rules to writing your own music, but because you've grown up on this music system, you'll probably find that, you know, you're playing this chord, then that one, and then you're trying to find that one at the end. Oh, here it is. Like, you worm your way to it, and then you go look at the music theory, and it's like, oh, it's telling me the same thing I was looking for, you know? I don't want to get too advanced here because I'm not too comfortable with the terminology, and I'll probably get some of it wrong. But when you're using chords from a scale, like C major, so you got the C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and then you have a diminished B. Right, like, so now you're like, oh, what on earth are we talking about? But the thing is, if you're playing some of those chords, right, and you've gone from like a D minor up to a G major, you'll probably find that the chord you're looking for is the root of the... what would you call it? The root triad of the C major scale. It's the C major chord. Now, there's no rules to that, but if you understand the theory, you realize that this is like just a very common experience of like what you're trying to do with the music. And the other thing is, if you want to be subversive and you want to like be unconventional, then learning what the convention is helps you fight it as well. So I just think, you know, it's really worth learning. And I was probably a fool for thinking I don't need it for so long. It's a common theme around a lot of things. For example, I've heard that to do a good parody, you must always know very well the original. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like if you want to parody something, like, you know, go parody something you don't know anything about. You're gonna struggle to pick up on the right cues and details and nuances. Whereas, you know, pick something you know really well. You'd be great at parodying it. Yeah. From listening to you, X, I think you learned music the correct way. Experience first, then theory. Yeah, there could be some truth for that. I would just say the timeline could be sped up a little bit. Like, I experienced a lot of music in my youth, and then I probably should have started learning theory in my 20s, right? But hey, here I am a couple of decades later, and like, it doesn't matter. I'll start learning anyway. I've still got plenty of time ahead of me to write, you know, and create. And it's not a destination either, is it? Really? They say the journey is the destination. I'm here to enjoy learning the theory and traversing that whole space. Gosh, this inventory stuff is just disastrous, isn't it? Constantly fighting it. Wasn't I originally going to do the floor? I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the stream I like look back at what we've done and like, yep, got sweet FA done today. That's not going to surprise me in the slightest. The problem here is that this looks very nice, these two blocks together in this area, but then they don't really transition that well to this here. You can try throwing in some deep slate and stuff, but it's going to look a bit rigid, I think. If you're learning music, don't neglect ear training, says Vintage Thief. That's something I'm keen to like get moving on. I think I got to get some of the fundamentals just a little more nailed down. But yeah, the ear training is something I definitely want to get on with, because you want to be able to just identify stuff quickly and then move forward with it. My music talks makes you want to go play with your synthesizers. You find the way you talk about your experiences is very helpful to someone who's never practiced music theory. Hey, go play with them. And like, dude, keyboard is such a great instrument to like relate to music theory because it's so visual. But like, there's like sounds and ideas that you're tinkering around with, and that music theory will have a language that will inform you on what you're doing and help you find the next things you're trying to do quicker. That's the way I'd describe it. It gets you there quicker, you know. What did I do on the inside over here? Oh yeah, I remember. So yeah, we kind of added a bunch of dark oak stuff. Here I am again, just we should have like a counter, like in a Minecraft session, how many times do you open up a container? And then if you compared that to like the same data from a long time ago, like playing the game in like 2012, you'd know it would be less in 2012. There'd be so much less faff. What I want is already here. You'll definitely have a look at music theory. I think The part I will find the hardest is applying it to my drumming. A drumming music theory might be quite different because drumming is like rhythm and a lot of music theory is about melody. So if you're a drummer, then you need to go specifically for the music theory of percussion. And then like I haven't gotten into this, but I know there's things like downbeats and triplets applies to melodies as well, but there's terminology for percussion side of it, which, you know what, I got to find where I'm going to learn that stuff, because I need to learn that stuff too. That's just going to quicken up how I do things. Like, I've written so many drum beats, right? But I never knew that what hitting on the downbeat was. But once you know it, it allows you to go, oh, the thing I'm looking for right now is to hit on that downbeat. And then bam, off you go, you know? And if you're working with someone else, you get to express it to them in a language you share. Hey, you need to hit that on the downbeat. Bam. Now you're making better music. Like, you just got there quicker. You can... Yeah. Ted Ricky says, I lost my 23 stream streak. Hey, man, don't worry about it. No stress. It's just a number. Doesn't mean much, really. Like, if you're here having fun, hopefully getting some value from these streams, like, that's what really counts, right? All the numbers stuff that we put in front of everything, I think it can be a little bit damaging for our psyche sometimes if you get a little too invested in numbers. It's very easy. Us humans love numbers, right? One thing I really love is looking at league tables for sports. Even sports I'm not really into. I mostly look at football. But I don't know. I just love seeing all those numbers stacked up. They're neat, they're orderly. They tell you about how teams have been doing and what's possible. Like right now we're at the tail end, well, the tail end, more like the practical end of the football league system over here. And there's like one game to go, and in the Premier League there's like 3 or 4, and like you can really see how teams have got, like, you know, an opportunity to avoid relegation or go into the playoffs. And on like, obviously you know what the sport is and you know what that means and what it feels like, but also there's just like this love of the statistics. Sometimes in the past I've like goofed around with what would you call it, like sports league simulators, where you just put a bunch of fake teams in and it like simulates the season, and I'm just like, why do I like this? Like, what is it about this that's so appealing? I've mentioned before, I would love to find a way to bring a league table to Hermitcraft across a season, but I think unless you created some sort of simulation type game that lots of people got invested in, it'd be hard to get like hermits to turn up every week to do some sort of like mini game competition. That's just not something I think people are going to be into. I don't think I'm even into that. But I love the idea of the end result where it's like, now we've got this cool like league table and we can talk about it and how it changes over the season and stuff, right? That would be cool, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. Well, unless I come up with like the right idea. You know, Tamagotchi, for anyone who knows, is like a possible idea. Like, you build a Redstone minigame where every hermit has a Tamagotchi. But when I say Tamagotchi, I don't mean an actual Tamagotchi, okay? I'm saying they have a thing that's their responsibility. And if they come and engage with it on a regular basis and do things, maybe you incorporate it into some sort of mini game, like there's activities for them to do, they can earn points or whatever, like you can build that into like a league table thing. But I've never really had an idea like that that's fully cottoned on. It's just always been a bit vague, a bit maybe. Like Ethos, what was it called in his survival world? Tamagotchi, yeah, that's the thing. That's the one, yeah. Sort of like the button, but a virtual pet instead. Yeah, I'm talking quite loosely here. What I'm implying is that you have a reason to interact with this thing over and over again. It's like a long-term game. There's some sort of motive for you to come over, interact with this thing, and make decisions, right? Some of your decisions will be really good, some of them won't be so great, but you'll keep interacting with it, and that system will then generate points that you compete with other hermits or other players on the course of the season. So it doesn't have to be a Tamagotchi thing. The Tamagotchi is like the way of saying kind of like this. The button is kind of like it, but the button was very simple, remember? The button was more of a psychological experiment. I'm thinking more along the lines of having choices that you make, like some sort of mini game. But yeah. So in the bare bones, like the stream streak, says Digital Chaos. Yeah, you know, the stream streak could be a part of it, right? Like if you turn up at your little thing each week, you get a point. All you got to do is turn up and press a button. Like that could be the very basic level of this interactive game, is that you just get people to come visit it. Once they've come and visited, there's a whole other bunch of choices. Let's say it's a Tamagotchi. It's like you can feed it. What kind of food are you going to feed it? You know, maybe it's got a status, and if you're paying attention to its status, you'd know that when it's this way, you've got to feed it this type of food, right? And all of that is said with a bit of a caveat, really, because it's got to be fun. It's quite easy to think of this stuff, but not in a way where you're like, hey, that's actually going to be really fun to do, right? You could actually maybe think of it a little bit like Decked Out. Like Tango, who creates a whole bunch of reasons to come and play, and if he wants to, he can take everyone's runs, their scores, and put it into a league table, right? And then people are interested in the league table, who's at the top, etc., etc. Feed it melons. Yeah, any type of food. But like when I'm talking about this, you know, you would be in the creative seat yourself, right? I'm trying to talk about things in a way where we pick apart the end product and we look at the things that lead up to it, and then you can insert your imagination anywhere in there. Make a row of potions, 1 free potion per day per hermit. Each hermit records their choice. Each month the outcome indicates the next month's options, plus a random boon or bane for the user that chose each option most. Thorelian, that sounds extremely intriguing. I'm going to strip out potions. Let's say we give everyone a number to pick between 1 and 9, and every hermit participates. And by the way, that's another thing. Like when the game needs everyone to participate and someone doesn't, that can be an issue. So you need strong incentives to play the game. But are you saying it's like... it's like you take that information and you use it to reward them with points, and then they come back each time and you build upon it. I'd love... Could you elaborate that on a little bit more? I feel like I could sort of see it, but then when I try and explain it, it's a little bit like... Actually, I'm not so sure, like, if I've got that or not. You can break melons with a piston and give random value each time, like a sword. That's a cool mechanic. Yeah, although you would need to grow that piston, right? You couldn't just place it down. Or maybe you could, I don't know. If you go in and manually reset your game, it could work that way. Something's off here. No, is it? Okay, no, it's not. That's not... Oh gosh, what am I looking at? Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, no, it's correct. I'm doing it correct. It's just I'm expecting to see something a little bit different here that isn't actually going to be there. Bike's gotta go. Ted Ricky, thanks for tuning in, my dude. Hope to see you on the next one. Wolf Howls, welcome to the stream. A little bit late, no worries. Do you know, I think I fancy a second cup of tea today. I really fancy one. Oh my god, now that I've said it out loud, I have to do it, right? Is that how that works? Isn't that how that works, people? If I say it out loud, I have to do it? Please tell me that's how it works. Right, we're gonna do the tough bit next, so I need all my tough blocks. Those ones as well, please. And then some raw, because I'll probably end up making more of this. Bam. There it is. Learn from the gameplay by what choice they made and into which potions would be most interesting to use each time, as well as use the mechanic of the boon and the bane as a way to see if they're change choices when those become impactful over time. Yeah, I think I understand what you're getting at. I'm just maybe struggling to picture it clearly too much. You're making a cup of tea too, says Everstaru. Oh, I've got to play the animation now. You put the emote in the chat. That's the rules, isn't it? Them's the rules, homie. Are we having fun today? I'm having fun, yeah. I'm enjoying casually building and waffling about a bunch of nonsense. I'm not in a rush to get anything here done on time. There is no time. Although I do again have a schedule in my head because I like to get that episode of Hermitcraft out weekly. If I didn't have the snapshot, I think I'd be a bit more loose with the Hermitcraft episodes because something about the snapshot coming around weekly just makes me feel like that's the cadence. I don't know why these ideas are in my head all the time. They just are. I just apparently decide that this is the way running a YouTube channel works. You have to have some sort of cadence to what you're doing. That's actually all of the sound. Do you know what? I think I filled it in like that. Yeah, we'll do that. But that's all of it we're going to do. I was thinking that you place a melon block in front of an observer and it breaks it automatically. Oh, yeah, okay. So you take it out of the chest and place it. That makes it a little more interactive. That's cool. That's cool. I like that idea. That's a cool mechanic. You know, I think there's always like a itch in me to create like a bigger scale mini game, but until the idea like comes into focus, I'm just gonna let the idea bounce around in my head. But then when you get there, knowing little mechanics like that could go a really long way. I do feel like something like that could fit into a mini game so well. Just a small little extra you can add. Bro, how can I get a cape by watching a live? Please tell me. I think you have to watch the event when it's live. But I don't know the details yet. I guess I'll make another note on my phone to check the latest Minecraft news, because we are expecting stuff related to capes. And then on Tuesday, when I make my next snapshot video, I know I've got a little bit of cape related news for you. Hopefully we'll have a bit more. Peeps, I'm going to go make a cup of tea. It don't take me too long, by the way. Won't take me long at all. Let's see. Yakido D, thank you for the 5 stream streak. Let's throw up the music stuff. So if you didn't know I do music, it's on your screen right now. If you want to check out the song I made in Minecraft, or if you want to check out my music, I'm going to go boil the kettle and start making a cup of tea. Cup of tea. What's going on in my chat? Yo, do we need like a riot video emote? We might need that. Doesn't mute his mic, yeah? No, I don't mute my mic. I'm not rude like that. I wouldn't just mute you so you can't hear the conversation. Jeez. What kind of tea am I rocking? I'm rocking a Sam Twinings. That's the one today. Callie says don't worry about it. I won't then. I won't. I think the kettle's boiled now anyway. It boils very fast. Funny that. Doesn't it boil faster if you're like higher up? Like if you live in the mountains? Or is it the other way around? Like it boils at a different temperature? Chat will tell me. Chat will know. Also, is this thing stuck on the music disc? No, it just changed. Never mind. I'm going to go make that tea. Alright, I'm back. Got another cuppa. You like electric kettles, can keep them anywhere. Yeah, they're good, those kettles, aren't they? When he says boiling temperature is dependent on atmospheric pressure, so higher up, less pressure, so lower temp to boil. Oh, I remembered it the right way around then. That's cool, that's cool. Yeah, that's correct. So peeps, if you want to boil your cup of tea a little bit quicker, just spend a few hours hiking up the mountain and make it up there. Oh, thanks, X. That's really good advice. It'll save me so much time. Oh, I'm here all day, people. I'm here all day. Yo, on the Fritz. Thank you for gifting a sub to Anti-Brits. Appreciate your generosity there. We also get an excuse to play an emote, which is always perfectly fine by me. Let's bring up the other screen. Hold it above your head. There's a tea pouring method that involves pouring the tea from physically above your head height. They do it in, I think it's Morocco. Morocco is in Africa, right? Top of Africa, that region? Am I getting the places in my head right? Or am I horribly wrong? I need to use the swapper mod here a bit more as well. I'm so slow at using my own mod. It's stupid, really. It's utterly stupid when you think about it. Designs mod doesn't use it. That's me. Didn't I put there they are, they're just hard to see. Huh. What's the swapper mod? The item swapper mod. It's a mod that I designed. Your degree in chemistry isn't totally useless. Definitely not. Also, a degree in chemistry. Interesting. Chemistry, out of all the sciences, chemistry is like... Oh, deeply, sort of mysterious. Like, I talked about this a little bit a while ago, but the periodic table, there's like... The way it's laid out, there's like patterns in it. The amount of... So how are each of the elements defined? It's the amount of electrons going around the... Is it the neutron? What's the center of the atom? Anyway, the amount of electrons that go around it, like... And the more there are, it becomes a different element. And then you've got like gases, you've got metals, you've got... You know, all these different things. And there seems to be some sort of pattern to it based on increasing... the amount of atoms. So that's like, oh, what's behind the... Why is there a pattern there? Does that mean something? Like, what is this about? And then how different elements interact with each other and stuff is like really fascinating. Like the whys of it and the rules. The nucleus, yeah. And is it the number of protons, not electrons? See, I haven't studied this stuff, right? Like right now I'm studying music theory, and it's like, it's going from being a passing thing that entertains me to like I'm doing tests on myself. I'm like training myself to understand this stuff. I'm making sure I get the terminology right on a deeper level. That's learning, right? Like edutainment, listening to podcasts about science and chemistry and stuff, that's edutainment. I'm not actually learning those terms correctly, you know what I mean? Again, in a vague sense of it, but there's like a big difference there. So to make it clear, I'm talking about stuff that I'm entertained by, but I'm not educated in. So yeah, chemistry is really interesting because all of those like potential rules and stuff, you know, and patterns that emerge. Chemistry isn't like maths, as I've heard it explained, where it's like, you know, 2x plus 3y equals 4z or whatever. Like, when you try and reproduce the same chemical processes, they're always like slightly different. I mean, Winnie, if you want to correct me here, feel free to. Organic chemistry isn't like math. I think that's what I was trying to say though, right? Like you expect it to be. You expect it to be like, I've got some of this, I've got some of that, let's add it together, what does it make? And it's like, well actually it's a little bit different every time. Toguro Joe, thank you so much for 90 months. Appreciate you, my dude. Thank you for continuing to subscribe. You just need to add more variables. Okay. So what, the very basics maybe is a bit more mathematics, and then once you have more variables, it becomes more complicated? It is predictable if you know all the variables. Interesting. Interesting. So, the podcast I really remembered was with a guy called... His first name was Lee, and I don't remember what his second name was, but he's trying to build, like a chemistry calculator, the idea was to enable people to like manufacture drugs and chemicals that they need at home. So it's like you're sick, you need this particular drug, you can manufacture it at home, but it was going to be computerized. It was like all digital, and this problem that you had to solve was to get chemistry to work exact every single time, which they were explaining doesn't. So maybe at a certain level of complexity, am I going in the right direction here, Winnie? At a certain level of complexity or lack of specificity around the variables, you're going to get different outcomes with the chemistry that you're doing. And this guy was trying to like computerize it and turn it into a computer that can always just do the exact chemical production at each and every time. And this is the thing, I'm gonna say it. This is what worries me a little bit about our age of the podcast, is that people can come on and talk about stuff, and if it's outside your realm of knowledge, the power of being convincing can be very strong. So someone outside the realm of chemistry, you know, sounded great, but like someone who's well educated in chemistry might be like, this is complete nonsense. What are they talking about? I don't know. In this case, I'd hope not, because this person had like a PhD and have built a company around this and stuff, so gut instinct says they're probably okay. When he says the problem is when you don't realize your theory is incorrect because you don't know what is really causing a reaction. So are we saying that maybe chemistry is precise, but it's very complicated and difficult, and if your understanding of what you're trying to do is off, then you get a different outcome? Listening to your favorite podcast, this time about a topic you know a lot about, and realizing these people have spouted nonsense all this time, says Callie. Yes, but that in reverse as well. Listening to your favorite podcast about a topic you're really curious in and having no idea that they're talking nonsense because they sound convincing. When he says exactly it. Interesting. Okay, it was framed, it was, you know, this is a long time ago I listened to this, so maybe I'm misremembering it, but it was framed a bit more like, I mean, maybe that's what they were saying, and it was just, it's very difficult to do, and they want to computerize it, right? And take the kind of guessing out of the situation, I think was what they were going for. If you're interested in listening, Winnie, I can send you a link to it. I think his second name was Cronin or something like that. I could probably find it quite easily. Not to mention names, but Johnny Harris. I like some of his content, but I know what you're getting at. Like, I've seen people critique, and I'm just like, hey, this is just entertainment to me, you know? And then if it's something I'm really into or passionate about, then maybe I'll have a strong opinion on it. But I watch that kind of content with a little bit of a grain of salt, I guess you could say. The problem is folks don't know what they don't know. Yeah. Very true. Wait, am I doing all stairs on this next bit? No, just stairs. Okay, then full blocks. So stairs on the edge and then full blocks. This is where, this thing, like, if we just had ethereal blocks, like, you've got tough, you've got this, you've got one stack, and it can just make all of this. You can switch between anything. We just eliminate all these stacks out of the inventory. And then we don't have to do all this walking back and forth. This is such a great solution to the problem, but is anyone out there listening? I don't think they are. You love podcasts for learning tiny bits about a topic you never normally come across. Victorian bodybuilding was a fascinating history to it. Cool, that would interest me. Where'd you hear about that one, Eversteru? I know a little bit about some of the really old school bodybuilders and some of the things they used to do. They figured out that in bodybuilding, they figured out like a lot of good stuff early on. Like a lot of the fundamentals. Profilip Scarab says it's an issue with big figures like Neil deGrasse Tyson. He has this feels like astrophysics, but then they'll confidently discuss topics outside their expertise and often mislead thousands of people. Well, he just had a nutritionist on, but the thing is, the nutritionist had like a PhD in nutrition, and a lot of what she was saying seemed to be, in my mind, pretty fair. Like, they brought up the topic of seed oils, and man, seed oils have been demonized, and I'm listening to this thinking, yep, I've heard this one, right? Like, does X know? I don't know, right? I can't tell you they're good or they're bad for you. I can tell you that I've listened to people say that they're really bad for you and you should avoid them. And I you know, I wouldn't know if those people are correct or not, but you know, we have these diet trends that go around and bits of information where we, you know, now you got to get loads of protein in your diet, or you got to avoid saturated fats, and like, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to do better, and there's a lot of information out there. But anyway, the way she talked about it kind of sounded reasonable. But I put my faith in Neil being from the scientific community to do his due diligence to bring on someone who can speak on that front. So I know there's going to be some people out there that disagree with some of the things that she said, especially when a lot of this gets quite drawn into identity and stuff, like the whole carnivore movement. But she was sort of explaining that they're quite misunderstood what they actually do, and they're probably not that big a deal to worry about. And like the key thing to focus on in your diet is focusing on fruits and veggies and a bit of a good source of protein with it, you know. And this is the stuff I've learned to be true and whatnot over time, is that kind of like whole foods philosophy tends to ring true to make sure you get lots of like nutrient dense veggies and fruit into your diet, and then alongside it you need some good source protein. And that sounds very reasonable, middle of the road. It's not too it's a bit boring, you know what I mean? And so all of these like really sensationalist claims about like you need to go to the carnivore diet or you got to strip this particular thing out of your diet, it's the problem. It's like, that's a bit sensationalist. So it didn't surprise me that like some of what she was talking about challenged some of my own ideas, but some of my ideas, they sort of play into that sensationalist thing. It's easy to get pulled into it. What am I trying to do here? Just waffling. Don't know what I'm building. Can't keep a thought in my head for 2 minutes. Let's go grab this. This is what we're going to do next. We're going to put this thing in. That'll work. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is that like understanding the actual science tends to maybe not lead to like demonizing particular things here and there, and it's a little less simple to understand what's actually going on, and you know, the usual stuff. Now you want waffles. Yeah, I haven't had a waffle in a long time. 12. I think it's 15 blocks. 15 blocks for this. So we've got one in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Have I made a tutorial explain how to make an autocrafter that uses more than one ingredient? I don't understand how to make one. Yeah, if you go watch my series this season when we did the firework rocket factory, you're looking for the part of the episode where we go to this area and I explain the sugarcane farm here and the gunpowder, and this is an autocrafter right here doing that. So the way to explain it, if I can explain it for you right now from this, that would be great. It really would. Okay, I think I can. So we have multiple ingredients inside of that crafter, right? Should we fly over there? I'm going to do you a solid and I'm going to fly over there and explain it whilst looking into things. How about that? Is that alright? There's too many noodles, I can't do this. No. You're not allowed to say that. Not around here. You can do it. You can get your head around it. X is going to help you. X gonna give it to you. What? Explaining redstone. I could go into a little redstone rap now, you know. Okay. I heard a noise in my ear. I thought I heard a noise in my ear. Big time. Did anyone else hear the noise in the ear? Because nothing popped up on my feed. I think it's something that only shows up in a different feed. Let's go find out. That was weird. Oh, I went to the wrong place. That's a great start. I'm still slightly on Streamlabs, so some stuff is like in old systems that I have to go look up. I got a dono. Ah, it's Everstaroo. Podcast is called You're Dead to Me. Oh, I started listening to that the other day. I've listened to 2 episodes. I listened to one about the history of LGBT, and I listened to another one about the history of football. It was all right. It was all right. I could definitely like listen to more of that on a topic I was really interested in. So thanks for the heads up. And thanks for the dono, my dude. Really appreciate it. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, let's... Into me. Okay, there we go. Right, I'm gonna go listen to that at some point. Thanks for that one, my dude. Appreciate you. Redstone rant, you're a little scared. Not a rant, an explanation. Oh, awesome. Name Butcher. Some of them are a lot better than others. I can imagine, yeah. Yeah, I wasn't like massively drawn into their like presentation style or personalities yet, but like the topics that I were listening to were you know, informative and educational, and I really like enjoyed that aspect of it. But that's the thing with podcasts, right? Like there's so much power in the personality. And I think we need to remember that, especially when we're like taking in information that has a big impact or whatever. Okay, right, so let me explain what's going on here. We have a crafter, and this is only going to craft... Right, it's not crafting right now, it's full. It's only going to craft when we have enough ingredients. Now, the way that we define enough ingredients is right here. As soon as one more bit of gunpowder comes into here, we will start crafting. And if you think this is a waste of materials, you can fine-tune this using redstone signals and stuff. Because we use a comparator in compare mode, and we give it a signal strength of 8, or is it 9, from this crafter here. So only when there are more items in here to override this redstone signal does it create an output which turns off that torch. Let's look at what's going on the opposite side. Over here we are full up. We have all of that. We are overriding this crafter here with its 9 signal strength because we have 15 signal strength, so this torch turns off. When both of the torches turn off because there's gunpowder coming in from this side, this clock will power the crafter and craft. Okay? That means the items feed into the crafter to keep it going. So if ever this thing runs out and doesn't have that buffer on this side, it'll turn off the clock. Does this make sense? It's about measuring how many items are coming in on either side and then using that to turn your clock on and off. If you've got one that needs 3 ingredients, you can use the same concept. You measure your 3 inputs, you make sure there's a buffer outside of the crafter, the ingredients inside are always full, and then you feed those measurements basically into an AND gate. So like the torches on either side are like an AND gate. When both of them are off, or is that a NAND? Not AND, like then your thing starts. Queentail says, yeah, it does. You need one for fences. Okay, so you feed in your sticks, you feed in your planks. You can essentially rebuild what I did here. And it's, yeah, pretty straightforward. Measuring the inputs, using them as a gate to override a clock. So yeah, this is where like I don't know what your level of redstone is, but if you're sort of like a copy and paste redstoner, it's moments like that where it's really good to not be a copy and paste redstoner. But jeez, man, I almost died. It's really good to not be a copy and paste redstoner, because let's say you wanted to scale that up to 3, it's not gonna like neatly fit into the way I've laid it out. So you need to understand that okay, I'm gonna take those 3 torches and like wire them together somewhere else and then feed that into my clock, and like you'll end up building something a lot bigger, maybe with some scrawny wires going all over the place. But like if you don't understand that conceptually, or know how to do that with the redstone, like it can hold you back a bit. So with redstone, it's always good to kind of understand those things in a way where you can actually go and build the redstone, not just copy paste it. Scar Learner, that's where I am with redstone. And that's perfectly fine, you're learning. As long as you actively learn and don't tell yourself you can't do stuff, like, you'll be fine. And you don't have to make something super compact. You don't have to make it pretty. If you make it work and you understand why, that's the thing to do first. Sofa says, I'm a what the heck is happening kind of redstoner. Well, that's what every redstoner is at first, right? Like, if we head up here to this contraption that I built yesterday, like, every redstoner will look at this like, what the heck is happening? And then you'll start to, like, notice things, right? Like, you're, like, right now, you know, oh, this might be a bit arcane, but, like, there's some sort of clock here. And you know that because you've been learning about redstone, you've been engaging with it, you've built some clocks of your own. We can see that these are like outputs and that they're in a range, they're tiled side by side. Like, there's clues and you start piecing it together. But if you want to get to the level where you can do that, you have to increase your redstone knowledge. So you just have to engage with learning and add ideas to your knowledge, like how you understand stuff, right? It's all like there's just little bits of information and you gotta figure it out. I think I'm gonna stick. My mind was starting to get a little bit creative there, and like, oh, let's make this little walkthrough here. No, I think I'm gonna stick with just building what we've already built, basically. Hi, it's Amelia. Thank you so much for 5 streams in a row. Thank you so much. Welcome back. Right. Oh, banged my microphone. I don't know if you heard that. It's time for cyan stuff. I think I put away the tough now, and we move on to cyan. That's what we do next. Gosh, that looks so much cleaner now, doesn't it? Oh, it's like I've got a brand new inventory. Almost. We're gonna need some warped wood. We're gonna need a whole bunch of stuff. I think I'm not gonna do the windows though. I think I'm gonna skip on those. I also kept a little bit of this. I think I might sprinkle some of that in, which is different from how we built it before. We're gonna need some crying obsidian. I knew I put some somewhere. This inventory can get disastrous pretty quick if you don't keep on top of it, right? Okay, that looks a little bit better. We do actually need tough blocks again. Funny about that. We're going to need... It's the wrong one. We're going to need some of that, some of this, probably a lot more of it. That one, that one, that one, and this one, and then we're good. I need to drink more tea. I did not focus on drinking this tea enough. You should listen to podcasts by Phoebe Judge Like Criminal. This is my love, my episodes, crime story. Maybe. I'm a little dubious of the crime stories and the yeah, well, isn't there true crime? There's like a big surge in popularity in true crime at the moment. I think that's the right term. So when I was really young, I used to watch a lot of documentaries about serial killers and criminal-related stuff like that, I guess. And now when I go and check out the podcasts, I don't like the shift in tone. Of the ones I've tried to check out, I feel like the crime stories are like really like dramatized up to feel like you're perhaps reading a book and keep you on edge. And you know, I've listened to some where they talk about a topic that I know about and others where I'm not. And I get this, the ones that I've tried, this sense of like trying to keep you lingering on this feeling, trying to make it more mysterious. And I don't enjoy that. I'm not really into that. And that's a lot of the true crime stuff that I've experienced has been like that. And I don't know if I've just found the wrong podcast or whatever. What's other people's experience of true crime? Like, is it dressed up like a book to keep you enticed, or is that just me? That's some good tea. All right, so these blocks are where we go next. And then we'd have some plain block. I need to craft some stairs. Oh my god. Need to make a bunch of stuff, really. Probably a few of those. A lot of that. Which means then we're going to need a bunch of the regular stuff. Is that it? Somehow it's always when I've got a question that he manages to miss my messages, says Leon Eats You. Hey, send it again. I agree with everything that you said. I like the story of it, but I want the reality and the knowledge of the story rather than the dramatized version. So you've encountered the same sort of thing, right? Anyone else who listens to the true crime stuff, is it all like that? Or I imagine it's not, but the popular stuff seems to be. And yeah, it's not what I want either. I'm kind of a little bit more drawn to, you know, a factual explanation of what happened, and my own sense of drama about that is usually more interesting to me than someone's way of telling it in the story. You feel that the dramatization sort of trivializes or like undermines the actual impact of the situation. Yeah, that too a little bit. It can be like that. They're actually trying to elevate it, but it doesn't work. You do, but only historical ones. Are they too dramatized? Let's learn everything covered true crime in one of their... Wait, let's learn everything. That's the name of the podcast. So a true crime in one of the episodes last year, and it was an interesting listen. Was it a true crime story, or was it like the topic of true crime? You don't like true crime, especially ones that take cases that is recent to dramatize, and there is still victims or family to victim around. I do like hearing about fraud and economic crime because it's deeply fascinating to me to be that unhinged and inhuman people around. Yeah, I'm interested in fraud and economic crime stuff too. CoffeeZilla does a lot of following of that kind of stuff, right? Or reporting on it, should I say? Yeah, as for like sensationalizing recent stories, you hope you could rely on the decency of the people telling the stories to kind of respect a bit of distance there. But we seem to be in a world that moves increasingly faster, and now like when big events happen, we watch it in real time on Twitter and stuff, and it feels, I don't know, like the world can move at that speed. I think I'm going to move at my own speed with stuff like that. I like to wait till the dust has settled to learn what's going on. Channel 4 recently had a documentary on the Jay Slater disappearance, and was like highlighting how TikToker and YouTubers were using the case to create conspiracy content, which seems a bit messed up. Yeah, it's the incentive of engagement, right? Like, they want your interest. So if there's like a way in which they can get you watching their content and keep you watching it, they'll do these things. And it's like, it's weird because this works like in multiple ways. Here on Hermitcraft, we have a very like positive set of incentives, if you want to drill it down to something like that, to create content here and to entertain and do what we do. And that's an example of like a negative set of incentives, but they all operate on the same thing, which is attention, your attention, because we get paid for your attention, essentially, right? That's how this ad revenue model stuff works. So it's the same incentive structure, just playing out very differently, and it's a shame that we can't guarantee that the ad model is going to be like positive each time it plays out. Sometimes it just isn't. It's a bit of a shame. Why does that feel... it's actually not. There isn't a gap here. We just go straight onto the next bit. Okay. I can do that. You're also a bit skeptical when watching and hearing quotations of clips of family, relatives, and friends talking about it, as clips and words can be chosen how they want it to be viewed by the audience editing. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and you're wise to be skeptical. Yeah. Yeah, clips can be taken out of context. Sometimes they can even be in context and still be a little misleading. You just have to, I don't know. It's a tough world to figure out, isn't it? What fascinates me is that it feels like we're in an era where, like, lying and deception and stuff has become increasingly common. And yet, you look back historically, I'm always thinking, like, wouldn't it have been easier to lie in the past? Because now we've got all this sort of, I don't know, digital evidence and ways of, I don't know, verifying our information. But in the past, it looked like it relied so much more on trust. I often wonder, like, how much of history as we know it is, like, possibly very fabricated because of the ease at which you could tell lies. Like, you hear stories of, like, kings and queens and stuff, and, like, how did people know who these people were? I mean, I say stories, like, you've watched TV shows where someone turns up 10 years later to reclaim the throne, and it's like they know it's who it is based on how they look or something. It's just, it's kind of mad, and it makes me wonder if there was actually more trust then or not. I don't know, but it's a fascinating thing about history. How much of it is, like, actually true? The world has gotten a lot smaller, maybe. It's weird because it's got more people in it, but it feels like it's gotten smaller because of the nature of communications technology, I guess. Let's grab... Is it that one next? No, this sign goes one block further. Okay, that's good. That's good. Now I know where I'm at. No, because today you can dump your lie out in so many ways, and so fast you flood the airwaves with your bias and potentially drown out a truth. Yeah, your tone sounds like a little bit dismissive. Maybe I'm not, like, making myself clear. I mean, here's the thing with, like, lying and deception. I often talk about how like, we live in an era of, like, mistrust of institutions, yet we don't question, like, plumbing and electricity and, like, all these complex systems immediately around us. Like, you don't get in your car and wonder if, when you turn the ignition, if actually your car's gonna blow up. Like there's so many things we take for granted that are around us that have a body of, like, rules and regulations and expertise underneath them that make them reliable and safe, etc. And despite having all of that, we seem to have some problems with institutional trust. So when we go back to times of the past, like when you didn't have running water and you didn't have an electricity in the house to turn on a light bulb, and you didn't go, you know, down to the store to get some paracetamol because you got a headache, right? Like, trust has such a different relationship to your immediate environment. And you watch some of these shows with kings and queens and stuff, and it just feels like if you could slip in there with a lie, it would be such a huge advantage because it's so difficult to, like, verify or not. It feels like the consequences of that are bigger or not, you know? It only took 3 generations for people to completely lose the ability to be self-sufficient, says Queen. Yeah, yeah. But maybe more than 3 generations. Like, when did the first cities appear? I actually was thinking about this the other day. Like, when people first went over to the Americas and started to settle and build cities, like New York City, for example, like, when were there the first people? What year was it? Can you imagine? The first people that, like, lived in a city, got their food from the immediate environment, but didn't know how to go out into the wild to hunt or forage. And, like, I reckon if you were a historian and you knew how to research this, you could put a date on it, probably. Like, there was a first human to, like, live in a town or city environment and not know how to hunt for their own food. And it probably goes to when was the first time that we started to diversify our abilities? And see, 1850, I think it could have been before that. Maybe the first person is like a handful. The Death of Expertise by Tom Nichols. That sounds like a really good topic. I'm making a note on that one. Sounds like an interesting topic. 1400-ish, yeah, like, you know, for example, kings. We know that kings probably lived in their castles and didn't know how to hunt, although, you know, hunting was a sport, so maybe they did to some extent, but, like, where were the first humans? In fact, Anti-Brint has a good point. We were never fully self-sufficient. We always depended on others in our group. Yeah, so in very small groups and tribes, being very close to nature without technology, you can imagine the skill set required was probably a lot narrower. You don't need bricklayers, you know, you don't need electricians. And so in our modern day and age, the amount of skills we can have, the amount of topics we can cover, hugely diversified. So from that starting origin, once you amass a certain amount of people start to specialize. That's the word that I'm looking for. And that specialization means that, let's say one person in your group builds the huts, and they know everything about building the huts, the materials and all this, and they don't hunt and they don't forage. Other people do that for them. So is that person self-sufficient? Because I know what you're saying. We realize that most of us today, you know, if you put us out in the wild, we'd die so quick. We wouldn't know how to hunt and forage. We'd eat the wrong berries from the bush and get poisoned. But, like, when did that begin, and how has it changed over time? Because it's clearly separating. It's that gulf is widening. We're not getting back to nature in a hurry or anything, are we? And it's always worrying, because when supply chains collapse and potentially society collapses, you think you're going to need to rely on those skills again. And yeah, and, like, would you be able to survive it, I guess? Jeremy, you watching the stream? This convo explains why people think my jarred moose is... What is jarred moose? Is that meat that you have in a jar? I haven't eaten moose. I want to try all sorts of different foods. So when there's something that we hunt and can food here. Ah, so you know how to hunt, Gem. That's awesome. I have a bit of a strange thought on hunting, because I very much am receptive to this this kind of, like, vegan, vegetarian, anti factory farming, like, moral argument. It's very strong. I think factory farming is disgusting, but, like, at the same time, some of that gets extended to hunting, and I kind of feel like it depends on your attitude and stuff, but hunting is, like, potentially closer to nature, like actually seeing the animal that you're going to eat that's going to sustain your life. Like, that's got to be meaningful in a way. And I think it gets demonized a bit. Like, some people can be mean about hunting and do it for a sport. Like, here in the UK, we have, like, a rich upper class and you see them go out and they're on horseback, they wear these red coats, they bring out their dogs and they go fox hunting for sport, and people think it's really cruel, and like it has a really cruel image and stuff about it because it's quite unnecessary, and they don't even eat the foxes, you know, they just kill it for sport. That stuff's disgusting. But like hunting for food, you know, we need to eat to stay alive and stuff. Used to hunt, you can't keep away from venison. Venison, I absolutely love a venison steak. Really nice grill steak. Depends where you live. We don't have very many humans here. It's sustainable. Sustainability is another question. If everyone goes out hunting in their local area, yep, you could easily kill off like a local population. England doesn't have enough wildlife to support, and sport hunting is awful. Sport hunting is. I've got no room for sport hunting. I've got no argument there. I just get rid of it. Basically, it should be illegal, I think. Maybe like some people like hunting, whatever informs why they like it. There are times where like populations of animals and how they interact with each other, you get like a surge of a certain type of animal, and it might cause disruptions to like the local ecology, and then the signal gets given to like go out and hunt and stuff. Like that's not sport, but maybe a little bit close to it, because then you're hunting to kill, not necessarily to feed. But that's another example of like everything's so complex, right? You can't just drill things down and simplify them all the time. I hate it with factory hunting and hunting for sport, but I don't mind hunting regularly for food and farms and stuff. As if you think about it, animals do the same thing with moving in and allowing other populations to breed and grow in order to go back. Yeah, it's part of life, isn't it? You know, the circle of life. You know, animals eat other animals. We just want to make it as less cruel as possible. The least amount of cruelness to it, you know? Doesn't the UK have an invasive muntjacs / vampire deer? I don't know. I haven't heard about that. You don't know how they taste, but isn't that an ethical source of meat? It's probably more ethical to prevent an invasive species from causing further problems down the line, and to also actually use the meat from the kill, you know? It's probably more ethical. You need a deep discussion or life debate time type emote. We always do this. This is just how my noggin works. I just think about stuff too much, basically. Most streamers ramble about games or simple things. You cover some real topics and make me have to think. That's what I want to do, though. I don't want to spoon feed you an opinion. I want you to like develop your own critical thinking skills and stuff. Self-sufficiency is a funny as a thought when we have 8 billion humans terraforming the planet to be covered in crops we can then eat, destroy predators that can threaten us, and then with scrap tools to relearn from tens of thousands of years. I would argue it's impossible not to be reliant on humanity for survival. Sorry, you would argue it's impossible. I totally with you. I think self-sufficiency is pretty much an illusion. It's like if I ever listen to, I don't know, some sort of like political opinion podcast, and like the whole self-sufficiency thing comes up, I'm like, man, do you not realize like how much of your day-to-day experience is based on other people's expertise and knowledge? There's just everything. Like, What you're doing right now, you're watching a live stream. You can't make a live stream. You can't build the infrastructure for it. You can't create the computers needed to process. Can you code a computer game for someone to play? Can you make a microphone? Oh my god, there's just so much complexity and well, complexity is the term, right? Wait, X, do you mind if I ask if you're upper middle class? I'm not from the UK and your accent sounds posh. I would consider myself to be working class, but my parents did really well for themselves. They come from, you know, working class background, but you know they're baby boomers, right? So they've lived through that generation that received a lot of the wealth. Like the balance of wealth pre-baby boomers, if you go back and look at, I don't know, economics and class and stuff like this, you see that it's kind of like it is now, where you have billionaires and like the wealth disparity is rather large. And then after World War II, the rules were kind of rewritten somewhat. And slowly over the years, some of those things got rolled back and we're ending up in the situation we are in now. But because some of the rules got rewritten, it meant that like the working class had a lot of mobility to become middle class, or to just work normal jobs and have a pension, have a house. Like it made living life so much more affordable. And they've lived through that period. So they've done well for themselves. And because of that, that's granted me a little bit of, you know, financial security and stuff that people in my generation specifically are probably like between, you know, like getting some from their family or getting some opportunity themselves. But Gen Z are really going to get screwed, and something needs to change, because a lot of young people are going to rely on stuff like inheritance and whatnot to actually be able to afford a home or whatever, which is like absurd. And I strongly believe it is related to how, when I say billionaires, I don't mean like individually, this billionaire, you're wrong. It's the fact that how money is distributed across society and how we change rules and economic things interact with each other. That money is moving away from people at the bottom and it's going up to the top. So I'm not trying to say if you're a billionaire, you're wrong. It's more like the way the system is setting up is moving the wealth in this direction, and that's going to cause a big problem for everyone else, you know? Reaganomics has screwed us all. Thank you, Thatcher, says False Aperture. Reaganomics is like a step along the way. There's a few other things as well, like Nixon taking the dollar off the gold standard has been, I heard it said many times, has been like a shift. So post World War II, there's all these like shifts in policy and stuff, and it's all like a little bit one at another that have changed things to go in the direction they currently are. And I think since like 2016, you've seen, maybe since the 2008 banking crisis, but like you've seen this ramping up of the stock market, and it not reflecting how the average person's like living conditions are and stuff. That's a reflection of that wealth detaching. Like the stock market has sort of detached itself because you have these ultra wealthy people that they can pay for their luxurious lifestyle and still have passive income from all the investments they have coming back into their pockets. What do they do with that money? Like when you have $1 billion, you live off of the interest. You don't have to work. What do you do with that money? Pump it into the stock market. What does a bunch of billionaires pumping tons of money into the stock market mean? You're putting upwards pressure on it. You know, well, they brought that stock last month for $100. Now it's worth 101. What else am I going to do with this money? I'll buy it. There's like a continuous upwards pressure on the market. And that actually continues to inflate their wealth and give them more resources, which then makes it harder for you to compete with them. And so they start buying up property. And so housing prices go up. right? That's why we have all the problems we have today. It's because of that wealth disparity. And it's unfortunately, it's like a feedback loop that's going to keep accelerating. Procon 77, thank you for 3 months. Appreciate it, my dude. Thank you for resubscribing, and welcome back to another stream. Queen, thank you for helping me understand how to make a 2-ingredient autocrafter. My friend and I put our knowledge together and made a multiple autocrafter to make more than one thing at once using a hopper, minecart, and power rails. That's awesome. Well done, you. Well done, you. That's sweet. Using a bit of knowledge, remixing it, creating something cool. I mostly learn British things through comedians. X sounds like Jimmy Carr and less like Sean Logg. Yeah, probably a similar accent to Jimmy Carr, I think, yeah. Ho ho ho! I occasionally laugh with that inwards laugh thing he does. I've noticed that about myself, actually. Like, my laughs have always tended to mirror people that I'm around. So if I, like, make a new friend or start hanging out with someone, I tend to start laughing like them. Your laugh sounds like Scar's Mickey Mouse. Oh, punk! That's the South Park one, which I can't quite do because it's quite vulgar. If I remember correctly, I think it is, isn't it? Aha, you little... And then I won't say it. Man, I love South Park. I really wanna watch some South Park episodes again. But it's like, what streaming platform is it on? One I haven't got. I'm pretty sure. One I haven't got. Let's go grab that. Paramount Plus, yeah. I did get Paramount a while back. I got it to watch Yellowstone, which I really loved. We talked a little bit earlier about hunting and stuff. Yellowstone, I think it is a show that like gives you a look into a way of life that might be a bit demonized from people detached from it, because it's got like a lot of hunting and living off the land in it. I really recommend that show. It was awesome. And you see a lot of like just incredible, breathtaking Mother Nature as well in that show. Like that show helped, I think, really solidify my dream to go to places like the Yellowstone and whatnot. Oh, Powerboss coming in with the gifted subs, my dude. Thank you so much. Always appreciated. Peeps, check in the chat, see if you got gifted something. And say thanks. It's like, make them pay their share of taxes is the most stupid statement ever. The top 1% of wealthy pay 40% of taxes. So if they pay their share, you want them to pay less. I'm not sure if I can interpret quite what you're saying there, but I would say that we need a new type of taxation on wealth to stir things back. If let's say we don't do anything about the current wealth distribution, it's just going to continue going the way it will, because their wealth will continue to grow, and that will give them more purchasing power, and that will hit you. That will come in the form of austerity. It will compete with your government's resources to provide healthcare and other services that they do, and it will allow them to accrue more and more assets and more power. And so, like, we have to bring the scales back to like where they were in the 50s. And I think in like the Nixon era, like executives used to pay 70% tax or something. Like, you know, that's gone. And now there's all these tax loopholes which get exploited. So on the topic of a taxation, I just think we need to like start something anew and say, here's the problem. Let's develop a solution for it through a redistribution of wealth. You think we need a different corporate investment culture? It's very much a invest in X company which X billionaires own. Same for private property. Yeah, maybe. I like what you're saying there. Like, with investments and stuff, there's other ways of investing. It's not always just about like returns and stock value. Like you can, like in a way, like charity. And speaking of the charity work that Hermitcraft recently did, like that's a form of investment in a way. Like you are investing in better health outcomes for people in hospitals. It just doesn't come with like a return check on it, you know? And if we have more of a, like you're saying, more of a culture for that, instead of just the share price goes up. But it's very hard to bake that stuff into the system, I think. Hey, recently brought Minecraft. I heard a bunch of people recommend me to watch Hermitcraft, but seeing how much there is and how many members there are, I was hesitant and just hopped online to Twitch and saw y'all streaming while I've been keeping an eye on your Hermitcraft content to potentially watch later. This is a sign to watch here. Awesome. I would recommend starting with the Hermitcraft recap, and we're in our 10th season of, sorry, oh my god, I can't keep up. We're in our 11th season of Hermitcraft, and I think we're having a killer season. A lot of hermits this season are like really leveling up what they're doing, and I've read, you know, some of the Reddit threads, and I read my comments, and I see this sentiment shared that people feel like we're really stepping it up this season. So I think it's a great time to get in, and if you want to wait for the next season, I got a feeling the next season won't be for at least a year from now. I can't say for certain. It's something we just navigate organically. I don't have any information other than my own hunch, but this feels like it's going to be another solid 1 to 2, well, I say 1.5 to 2 year season. Maybe 2.5, who knows? So anyway, there's the Hermitcraft recap channel run by ZloyXP and Pixel Riffs, and they recap what we do each week. So if you go to their channel and go to the very first episode, like you can find your starting way in. You can get a recap of what every hermit is doing, and then you can decide, oh, do you know what? I really like what Gem's doing over here. I'm going to go check out some of her episodes. Or, you know, what's Grian up to with his island? Scar's done this incredible terraforming. Mumbo's building, what's the name of the city? Wuhan is in my head, but I know that's the wrong place. Kulong? Something long? Chat are going to be so... Oh my god, and Tango with the... Okay. I have to sell this person. Who sent that message? I think it went off my screen. So I have to sell this person now. Kowloon City, that's the one. Because every person in this live stream, every person who watches Hermitcraft is anticipating what comes later this season, which is the sequel to the sequel. Decked Out was the surprise of a minigame in Minecraft that went to another level. Decked Out 2 consumed the server when Tango found a way to 10x it. And it appears that Tango will be 10xing it again, because what is going on in that direction is insane. And I haven't flown over there since I updated Bobby Mod. So we're going to fly over there, fly back. And when we get back, we're actually going to be able to see it. It's kind of wild. So, let's head over this way. Mary, there was so much, it's literally like just going over my head right now. Okay, don't let this go over your head. This won't go over your head. Okay, this will bump you on the head and make you go, what the heck? Let's let the magic hit you. You're looking at the magic right now. You're seeing it pop into existence. What is this place? All built by hand. Okay, everything... Oh my god, I'm getting lag spikes. Everything you see here, built by hand. These lag spikes could be quite detrimental, because if my client crashes, my stream will crash. How are we doing with 6 gigs? There is a memory leak in this. Where is it? 75. There's definitely a memory issue. Okay, this giant build here that Tango's created, it's just a facade. It's just... Oh, Doc's got something mega going on back there. This is just a facade for a game he's creating inside of it. that will probably have us hermits playing for months on end. A game within the game. This place is absolutely beyond bonkers. We'll have a dip inside as well. So all of this area here is going to be used for the game of Decked Out Free. My client is doing some funky stuff redrawing things here. So, like, Tango is someone you probably want to watch this season. See how all of this comes together. He's going to walk you through the game that he's making. And it's going to be absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. Yeah, the game crashed, therefore the plugin that records the game crashed. This whole thing. We're going to log in and we're going to be mid-flight, so I need to tap spacebar. I'm tapping spacebar like crazy. Don't log in slow! No! Don't log in slow! Oh my god. Oh, now this! It's going to slow. Okay, we're flying still, that's fine. So the theory now is that the game might actually be crashing related to something else. It might not be related to the memory leak. So I could try and log back in. Oh, I think it crashes. I think it'll crash whatever I do. Okay. Slight caveat then. We might just be ending this stream quicker. So I've put my music stuff on the stream so that when I log back in, the source might not be recording. But it might actually be... I think it is. I think it runs throughout the stream. So if I log back in, it's going to crash. So we'll wrap it up here, but we might get a little bit extra time on the server or not. I don't know. So if this stream crashes again, that's going to be it from me today. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. Appreciate all the support. Sorry about the technical issues. I'll have a little look into them today. And if I disappear, remember. So there's that. Also, I should probably get like a raid ready. I see Pixel Riffs is streaming. So if we crash, I will raid Pix. Or you might have me for a few more minutes. So whatever happens, happens. I'm logging back in, tapping spacebar. We're probably going to crash. Haven't crashed yet. Might crash in a moment. Maybe we can go back to the base. Let's see. Alright, but if it crashes at any point, you know what's what. How are we doing on memory? Yeah, something's up with the memory. I should not be using 4 gigs of memory. That's wild. Anyway, I'm going to go sleep in the bed, turn around, and show you Decked Out like I said I would. Alright, so for that one person who's probably gone because of all these crashes, they're like, these hermits aren't very professional, just crashing their streams constantly. Now when we're up here and we look in that direction, we get to see Decked Out because of the Bobby mod. And it